Hey everyone, welcome aboard Sea Dragon, Pangaea's Challenge 72.
Sea Dragon's been all over the world, and with Pangaea, she's been everywhere from Patagonia to Iceland. But today we're here in sunny Southern California, San Diego Harbor.
And we wanted you to join us for a boat tour so you can see everything she has to offer. Sea Dragon is a steel-hulled cutter, and we sleep 14 people on board.
She's circumnavigated the world twice, and with Pangaea, we've done another 100,000 miles throughout the Pacific and the Atlantic.
So as you come down below, you're brought right into the salon and galley area. Our salon is really comfortable. We can fit an entire boat crew of 14 around here quite comfortably, whether it's for a presentation from a visiting scientist or crew member, or to have a meal if it's bad weather at sea and we can't eat on deck. One of my favorite things about life at sea is how everybody comes through the galley in one form or another, whether it's to help chop, to keep the cooks company, or to have a full-blown meal planned, and everybody ends up pitching in. We've got a fully equipped galley for basically anything you need to cook a meal. It has one of my favorite things about the boat, this 5-burner gimbaled stove. It really makes cooking at sea pleasurable and safe. It just rocks with the motion of the boat. And with these extra arms in place, you don't have to worry about a pot or pan flying on you or anywhere else. And you really get wedged in here too, so that as the boat's sailing and lurches one way or the other, you know you're not going anywhere.
Moving forward from the salon, we're going to go through one of Sea Dragon's 5 watertight bulkheads up into the forward hallway. Up here we have 2 cabins bracketing the mast. All the way forward we have a pair of heads, mirror image port and starboard. We have manual foot pumps for water. We also have hot, pressurized running water and cold, so you can take showers up here. And then we've got one of my favorite features on the whole boat, which is that we can actually tilt the toilet seats themselves so that when the boat is really heeled over and powered up sailing upwind, you can still sit flat on the toilet and not be worried about sliding off. Finally, up here in the bow, we have the forepeak, which is a nice big walk-in space for storage. We've got a pair of outboards for our dinghies, a pair of inflatable boats here. We've got a spinnaker, our storm sails, all of our spare dock lines ready to use and easy to access.
Moving aft on starboard side from the companionway, we come into the living quarters on the boat. And this is where we sleep. Even further aft, we come to our pipe berths where you'll be sleeping. Each pipe berth has its own reading light and fan, and a really secure lee cloth that you can tighten to stay inside your bunk while underway at sea. Each person also gets their own personal bin to store all their items. At the very aft end of the boat, we have our comm station, which we use for our sat phone emailing and downloading weather. And then we move to port side aft here, and we have some more bunks as well, just as on starboard side. Moving forward on port side, we have more guest berths, as well as bins for personal items. And we also have access to our generator and engine, as we do on starboard side.
This is Sea Dragon's nav station. We've got our ship's breaker panel here and then all of our electronics. So radar, VHF radio, our DSC controller, our forward-looking sonar, and then we've got SSB, AIS, satellite phone, all the information telling us about the battery charging, and then even our chart plotter here. But we also use paper charts quite a bit, and it's nice to have a full-size chart table because a lot of the regions we sail to aren't well charted digitally yet. So it's nice to be able to have paper both as backups and as primary charts.
To starboard side of the companionway, we have our wet locker. And in here we have our day tank, which fuels our machinery. We've got our water maker that keeps us topped up on all the fresh water we could need. We've also got our life jackets here, spin-lock deck vests, each of which will be assigned to a crew member to have and use while they're on board, as well as foul weather gear. So now you've seen down below, let's go on deck and have a look around. So this is the center cockpit, where we gather for most meals on deck when the weather is nice. We've also got our big manual Harken winches here for our staysail sheets, and then our main sheet here in the center with our custom Hercules Traveler.
Here on the foredeck, we've got our dive compressor, and it's a pretty big diesel-powered unit, which we use to fill our 12 scuba tanks, which we store back on the swim platform. Coming up forward, we've got our inner forestay, where we hank on our staysail for sailing upwind or our storm jib for when it's really blowing. And we've kept these as hank-on sails just because it's a lot more reliable, and these sails are small enough they're pretty easy to manhandle, but when it's blowing dogs off chains, we don't want to be mucking around with furling gear. However, we have converted our jib to a furler because we don't sail with a crew of 18 pain-loving gorillas anymore. We sail with normal people. So it's a lot easier to be able to just furl the jib in a squall and unfurl it again. Down here at the base of the inner forestay then, we've got our electric anchor windlass, which we use to haul up and down our mantis anchor up on the bow, which has been a wonderful improvement on the boat. It sets quickly and lets us sleep well.
Our mast is 96 feet off the water, and under full sail we'll do close to 12 knots. This is the snake pit, so named because when it's not neat and tidy like it is today, when we're actually sailing and making changes and using the lines up here, sometimes they can look like a bunch of snakes on the deck. Here we can basically control everything that needs to be done for the sails other than the sheets. We can reef the boat from here. This is where all the halyards lead to. So having everything led back here really limits the time that you're working on the foredeck or at the mast when making sail changes or adjustments, which is really nice and a huge safety factor. We also have our 3 big Harken winches here. The center one here is the only one on the boat that's been modified to be electric, so it really comes in handy and gives an extra boost when we need it.
This is the aft cockpit of Sea Dragon. We've got our helm here and this sort of roll bar crash cage built around it so that if people are getting swept down the deck by monster waves in the Southern Ocean, they don't take out the helmsman and bend the steering wheel. Back here also we have our 4 life rafts. We can carry 24 people in our rafts so that if one pops, we still have enough to fit the entire crew on board. And then we also have our jib sheet winches and our running backstay winches back in this area as well. So a lot of the control of the boat while we're sailing is done from this region. Up here on our stern arch over the life rafts, we've got close to 1 kilowatt of solar and wind generation. The cool thing about this whole setup is that we can actually generate most of the power that the boat needs, and on particularly windy trips can actually power the entire boat just from the power of the wind. One of the great things about Sea Dragon is we have this awesome fold-down swim platform here, which is really nice because it lets us easily get on and off the boat when we have the dinghies in, carrying a lot of food, groceries, dive gear, whatever it is. And it's also just nice to be able to jump off the back of the boat and for a beautiful swim at the end of the day and watch the sunset.
Thanks for checking out the boat tour. Hope it gave a bit more insight into what it's like to be on board. We hope to see you soon. Bye.
Bye.